Good afternoon, Chairman Wayne and members of the Urban Affairs Committee. My name is Anthony Connor, Anthony Conner, President of the Omaha Police Officers Association. I have served the citizens of Omaha for nearly 22 years as a police officer. For 18 years, the majority of my career, I patrolled the same North Omaha neighborhoods where I was raised. What I can tell you from my experience is that most police officers quickly realize that we will never arrest and incarcerate our way out of the systemic problems facing North Omaha. Police officers know this because of the nature of our job. We find ourselves in situations when ordinary people run out of moral and legal options to solve their problems. And we connect daily with citizens who are victimized by choices of others. We respond to those who have buckled from the stress caused by generational poverty, food insecurities, homelessness, mental illness, and drug abuse. Under my leadership as president of the OPOA, we have renewed focus on preventative and restorative measures to help address the root cause of crime and the years of neglect in North Omaha. We have financially supported the Center for Workforce Development and the Project Reset program. We have supported PACE financially and with volunteer hours coaching kids. We have helped Operations Nets and a host of other community service projects. Our commitment to real and lasting change in North Omaha is genuine. And so I'm here today to support LB 1024. And while we stand firm in need of fair and impartial policing, we also realize that what this community needs most is opportunities. We have a chance with these available funds to make an immediate impact. The issues caused by generational poverty, lack of quality education, and opportunities and limited economic growth and job creation must be addressed in order to end the violence and crime that continues to plague North Omaha. The OPOA is proud to support LB 1024, and I would like to personally thank my Senator Wayne, for bringing this idea forward. And I'm certainly available for any questions.
Thank you. I have the pleasure of serving as the CEO of Charles G. Wilson, located in North Omaha. I'm also here testifying on behalf of the Health Center Association of Nebraska, which represents the 7 federally qualified health centers here in our state. We stand in strong support of 1024. I would like to thank Senator Wayne for introducing this vital legislation. LB 1024 directs $450 million from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 to be used primarily for work revitalization and the improving of the living standards of families in North Omaha. North Omaha historically has some of the highest need of all the state, mainly due to the history of discrimination, segregation, and redlining. North Omaha is one of the most economically deprived areas in our state. Rates of unemployment, homelessness, poverty, uninsured, and chronic disease are all significantly higher in North Omaha than the rest of the city, as well as the state as a whole. While Nebraska has a 10% uninsured rate, 20% of North Omaha residents are uninsured. In the 68111 zip code, where Charles Main campus is located, 30% of our residents have income below the poverty line, as opposed to 9% of the rest of the state of Nebraska. As we all know, this is not a phenomenon, but rather a reflection of generations of poverty in the North Omaha community. Charles G. Health Center, we served 14,000 patients in 2020. Approximately 3/4 of our patients are people of color, 82% had income below the poverty line, and 46% are uninsured. In addition, many of our patients have even more significant barriers to care, such as housing insecurity. Charles Drew served over 3,000 patients experiencing homelessness in 2020. Charles Drew has been inundated with COVID-19 cases as one of the few accessible healthcare providers in North Omaha. Federally qualified health centers are an essential component of the safety net system, providing comprehensive medical, dental, behavioral health, substance use, and enabling services to any patient, regardless of their insurance status or ability to pay. Statewide, the 7 FQHCs have provided over 60,000 COVID-19 tests and vaccinated over 41,000 individuals. We have been on the front line in this pandemic and will continue to do so as we always have. FQHCs are an excellent investment in the long-term well-being and the community, both in terms of health and the population and economic security of our areas. Charles Drew provides services to those individuals who other health systems do not, supporting them holistically and advancing greater economic opportunities. Currently, Charles Drew works with several of the schools to provide mental, physical, and oral health services, ensuring our babies have the care they need to thrive and learn in our schools. Additionally, we work with community partners to provide seamless access to resources. The economic impact of FQHC is also limited. Charles Youth Health Center alone provided over $35 million in economic impact to the North Omaha community, including 272 jobs at the health center and more broadly within our community. Statewide, FQHC provided $208 million in economic impact, over 1,600 jobs, and $168 billion in savings to the health systems due to our high quality care. Continued investments in FQHCs would be a boon to our community. ARPA funds provide a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the legislature to invest significantly in the communities that need it most. The impact of COVID-19, generational poverty, inequities, and lack of equitable economic opportunities are experienced every day in North Omaha. There remains a great need for affordable, accessible health care in North Omaha and in other low-income communities statewide, which complements the vision of LB 1024. Thank you again, Senator Wayne, Senator McKinney, and Vice Chairman Hunt, and members of the committee. We encourage you to advance 1024 to General 5. I'll fill in the questions.
Thank you, Mr. McMorrison.
Senator Wayne and members of the Urban Affairs Committee. I just want to bring in some information. I've got a pamphlet that I've given you. I'll kind of go through it page by page because I think it's got some information I'd like to share with you. I'll tell you a little story real quickly. 5 years ago, my wife had a back pain and she kept complaining about it. Finally, she went to a doctor. The doctor said, everything's fine, be okay. Continued, she went to another doctor. She said, you need to get a scan, CAT scan. And so they did, and they found pancreatic cancer. So, because they found that quickly, diagnosed it carefully, the med center took over from there, and she's 5 years out now and doing great. The reason I tell you that story is because what I'm trying to address today is poverty impact in our community, the health of our community. And if you look at the first page, the scan with these, if you think of these as CAT scans of our community, if you look at the top one, all of them have yellow, which highlights the area that 1024 is addressing. The first one is the percentage of children in poverty is color-coded, dark colors go up to 100%. Then you go to the next one. This one's a very disturbing one. It's life expectancy. Life expectancy difference between, that's the second one in yellow in this 1024 area. Life expectancy difference between that and West Omaha is 20 years. That's worse than in some of the bigger metropolitan areas in the country. The third one is also very important, mental health. I'm a licensed mental health therapist, is the exposure to violent crime. You see the dark areas in that, that's number of violent crimes per 1,000 individuals. The worst areas experience 39 violent crimes, murder, all kinds of violent crimes per 1,000 individuals. That's not for a whole area. The next area goes into food insecurity, the lack of access to a computer. It also talks about severe cost burdening, which is lack of income for the family. The next one has more to do with mental health. It has a graph which talks about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, and that's major traumatic events, horrible housing, being treated unfair by race, parents in prison, jail, victim of violence, so forth. Then there's a couple pages here which I won't go into detail, but it's a white paper report on the psychological, emotional health detriments of poverty, has to do with individuals, parent-child relationships, and so forth, all the damage and psychological trauma. And then there's another page. This one is particularly important. This is school attendance. There's like 94% correlation with poverty, which is without school. And this is data that's just been put out by the Greater Omaha Attendance and Learning Center. Lastly, I'll refer you to the movie Out of Omaha. If you haven't seen it, it's a well-known documentary. It's on Amazon Prime and YouTube. It follows 3 adolescent brothers in North Omaha for 8 years. 2 of them were able to get out of the 1024 area that we're talking about, now raising families in Grand Island. The third one did not get out, got involved in a homicide and is serving 90 years in the state penitentiary. So I am fully in support of this. This is a game changer for kids and families in our community. I really appreciate your support. Anything you can do to move it along.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler.
The IMA of Omaha that serves those underserved in North Omaha, as well as the president of the Great Plains Black History Museum that oversees the Martin Luther King monument on 24th and Lake. I debated whether I would come up for public health, but what I have to say falls into all categories. When we think about people that live in North Omaha, I know that in this state, we want to think that North Omaha is only African Americans or minorities, but there are a lot of different races of people in North Omaha. And as the pastor of the church, I have to deal with everyone that comes ringing the doorbell that is in need, whether it's for food, whether it's for someone just to listen to them as they share, or in the midst of losing a loved one, they are looking for that spiritual support. And so when we think of public health, we have to look at it in all aspects, not just physical, but spiritual, mental, emotional. And so when we think about that, it's been a long time coming for North Omaha. For 50 years, it has been the most neglected area and undersupported in the city as well as the state of Nebraska. And now is the time for us to do what is right. With the funds that are coming from the federal government, we know those blighted areas, and we need to step up to the plate and do what needs to be done. We have missed the mark of this area, and with these recovery funds of 2022, it gives us the right means in which to help and to do what can be done. At the church, not only are we a hub for food programs, we also have a 35-plot garden that we manage, as well as to distribute food to. We have been a vaccination clinic through this pandemic every Wednesday, and other churches in the IMA have likewise opened their doors so that people can not only get their vaccines, but also their boosters. And now they are able to receive KN95 masks that Douglas County Health Department are giving out to distribute at that time. We are looking as the IMA to work with the United Healthcare system that we can offer mental health training to our members, our colleagues, so that when people come in, you should be able to not only listen to them, but also see what they stand in need of. We are also thinking about opening up telehealth rooms in our churches so that people can come to the church. If they don't have internet access at home, but still need to see a doctor in the midst of this pandemic, we want to make sure that they can still see a healthcare provider, that they don't have to go without being taken care of. Likewise, we are trying to push forth the Heritage Health Adult Expansion Program. There are still a lot of people who are not receiving health insurance, and the plan that we passed here in this legislature, that we need to make sure that it is accessible so that people can apply and move forward in their health. Therefore, I took the time out of my busy schedule to come and to support my senators, Senator Wayne and Senator McKinney, and to ask that you would do the right thing. Recognize if your pocketbook is hurting in the midst of this pandemic, quadruple it. 4 times is what people in my community are dealing with. We served over 280 people in our food pantry on the 3rd Saturday, and it is still going on. People are still in need, and so we need you to pass this North Omaha Recovery Act so that we can continue to provide social services to other people. We don't have the money, but the money is there.
Wrap it up, Pastor Cabbage.
Okay, so I just want to remind you that the church has been an integral part in the community. Most states always come to the church and ask that we would do what we can, but we need you to help us to meet the needs of the people. So please consider this plan and do what is right for the people of North Omaha.
Thank you, Pastor.
WILLIAS, and President of the Omaha branch of the NAACP. Want to first celebrate Senators McKinney and Wayne for their efforts in developing this North Omaha recovery plan and their stated goal of transforming North Omaha into a more vibrant and resilient community. I want to talk about housing impacts, specifically as it relates to what they put on in the recovery plan on the bottom of page 12 through page 14. Support all of what is written there. In addition, I just want to say, in 2017, the homeowners rate across the country was 72.5% for non-Hispanic whites, 46.1% for Hispanics, and 42% for African Americans. The value of property has stifled during the history of the United States for African Americans. This is seen in a report in 2018 from the Brookings Institute, which showed that homes owned by Black Americans are undervalued by billions of dollars, and it's having a domino effect on American families when it comes to paying for higher education and then going into retirement, not to mention other things. A 2021 article based on 2019 information says race plays a significant factor in the home lending industry. Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American, and Black applicants experience discrimination during the mortgage approval process, but Black applicants encountered the most. According to the report, Black people were 80% more likely to be denied a mortgage loan than a white applicant with a similar profile. And we know that home ownership is a crucial means by which families can accumulate wealth. Over a period of time, homeowners accumulate equity in their homes. In turn, this equity contributes substantially to the wealth of the homeowner. And we understand specifically in Omaha, redlining historically has caused a suffering. And so I just want to say we stand in support of the housing impacts in this plan, EC 2.2A, EC 310, A through D, EC 3.12, A through G, which adds up to a little more than $86 million. I know part of the plan calls for 100 new homes, which it could be 200 homes that individuals could purchase simply because the need is that great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you today, and we do urge your adoption of this recovery plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Vice Chairman Hunt, Senator Wayne, members of the committee. My name is Bob Holstrom, B.O.B., H.A.L.L.S.T.R.O.M. I appear before you today as registered lobbyist for the Nebraska Bankers Association to testify in support of LB 1024. Economic disparities for residents living in low income and/or segregated neighborhoods have only been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Utilization of ARPA funding presents an unprecedented opportunity to enhance the ability of public and private entities to respond to these disparities. These funds can be utilized to rebuild infrastructure, enhance workforce, invest in high growth and startup businesses, and promote economic development in North Omaha. The banking industry has been engaged in numerous efforts to promote the well-being of individuals and businesses in North Omaha. However, much work remains to be done, and ARPA funding will provide opportunities to expand and revitalize North Omaha. In my testimony, I provided some examples. I'll just summarize briefly. There are 3 in-school banks in North Omaha area schools that have been established by Omaha area banks. Omaha area banks have been promoting financial literacy. Senators McKinney and Slama combined forces last year to pass LB 452 which recognized the importance of financial literacy for our high school students and elementary students, and banks are promoting financial literacy at the local level, not only in Omaha, but across the state. Other areas where we think banks are participating, engaged in North Omaha, involve direct lending, supporting community development financial institutions with capital investments, supporting Habitat for Humanity. In polling Omaha banks, it looks like the vast majority of banks are participating in the Habitat for Humanity program. Gardner Legacy Center, founded in partnership with American National Bank, is located at 24th and Lake Street. The primary purpose of the bank, is indicated on the bank's website, is to help African Americans grow and sustain wealth, starting with a focus on business ownership, home ownership, and community ownership. There's a number of fantastic foundations and not-for-profit organizations in the Omaha area. Omaha banks have collaborated with them to provide loans and other benefits for residents and businesses in North Omaha. Some of the foundations and nonprofits that banks identified that they have been working with: the Greater Omaha Chamber Foundation, Grow Nebraska Foundation, Heartland Family Service, Holy Name Housing Corporation, Nebraska Enterprise Fund, One World Community Health Centers, Spark Community Development Financial Institution, the Empowerment Network, Urban League of Nebraska, Habitat for Humanity, and Transformation 2025. Some of the things that they have collaborated with involve activities related to small business development, housing program support, North Omaha neighborhood revitalization, housing support services, reaching underserved entrepreneurs, healthcare workforce development, and access to capital. That gives you a snapshot of what we believe banks have been doing, what we would like to look at going forward, and maybe some suggestions with the ARPA funding. One is to use that to establish a loan loss reserve for small and minority and women-owned businesses in North Omaha. Some of those businesses may fall short of meeting credit underwriting requirements. This could provide a safety net or safe harbor for banks to put those borrowers on the margin over the top to qualify for a bank loan. In reviewing the North Omaha Recovery Plan, it also indicates or addresses the energy burden impact on housing. This issue may not be directly related to ARPA funding, but I would certainly suggest that consideration be given to the dollar energy saving loans programs by residents in North Omaha. That's a low interest rate loan program that would help reduce the cost of paying for energy costs in those homes. And then finally, for finding funding for housing, looking to the Rural Workforce Housing Investment Act and the Middle Income Workforce Housing Act as prototypes to use ARPA funds to assist with the homeownership requirements and needs in North Omaha. Be happy to address any questions.
Thank you, Mr.